Oh, we aren't behaving now.
Uh-huh.
We better behave.
Yeah.
It's cold to get in.
15 is my crew.
What's the temperature? It's 17.
For yours?
Yeah, for the one you gave me.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, here it is.
Mine's a shade on.
71711.
I say I wrote them all down.
I know, but I can't get, it didn't work.
Keep trying. Till you get locked out.
There you go. Did that thing.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. Mr. Miller, the roll, please.
Horton,
Here.
Carroll,
Here.
Alba,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Dennerline. Here. White absent, and Brown.
Quorum declared. Is anybody here for to comment on an item that's not on the agenda? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the January 4th meeting.
I so moved that we approve the minutes of the January 4th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
By voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to a modified first item, which is discussion and possible action on request by Adam Johnson and Melissa Harrop to remove a small portion on the south side that has been withdrawn and build a sunroom per submitted plans. That has been withdrawn. What has not been withdrawn, for those of you with the schematics in front of you, the architectural drawings, what has not been withdrawn is on the proposed west elevation, which herein referred to as the rear of the house. There is some changes to the sizes and sills of the windows. One window is being removed entirely. And I guess, are you truly having one shutter, Adam? Is there going to be shutters on one window?
Oh, I'm sorry. Adam Johnson, 211 4th Street. Yeah, so what our plan was and what Terry suggests is that we wait until we pull the aluminum flashing off the existing windows. We'll be able to tell which windows had shutters by the ones that they'll have brackets still left. So we are gonna just investigate where the shutters were and then just put them back where they were. So so I didn't know if that being a first floor window in the parlor would have a shutter, the first floor window in the historic photo on the front of the house had shutters. So I was just putting a shutter on that window to make them consistent in that room.
And your original shutters are sitting in that storage shed in the back, aren't they? No? So the
Original windows.
so the shutters are all, where the shutters are missing, they're gone. Okay. So can you explain to the board, Adam, the reason for changing the window sizes and sills, as well as putting siding where there is currently appears to be some siding in a window?
Yeah, so the owners would like to turn the kitchen into a full kitchen and be able to with cabinets around, base cabinets around the outside wall. And so the easiest way to do that would be raise the sills on the windows so the sills are the same height as the countertop on the inside. So that's what we're proposing to do with the 3 windows and then the door. And I'm thinking then that, with that kind of work in the masonry and kind of the condition of the masonry on that backside, we'd probably get most of it repointed anyway. I don't know, so that it all matched in, we wouldn't have kind of a zipper effect and masonry look there, but
So you currently have 6 windows on the backside that are all the same size and essentially match, and you're looking to change that.
the ones in the small addition are not all, they're smaller and they're not all the same size. The one on the south side in the existing addition is a little bit narrower, but, yeah, they're a little bit smaller than the existing windows in the main house.
Do you have a sense of, right there in the first floor center of the back, where you're removing a window and there's, when was that done? Do you know? Can you tell?
That's a frame addition, no, I can't tell specifically when it was done, but, I would assume it was done probably still, 19th century. And they connected those, it seems an obvious place to put the addition between that brick addition and the main part of the house. That, so, but, it could have been started out as a small porch and or something. I mean, the end of the main hall or the hall for the main house. That could have been, so, looking at it, it's fairly beat up on the inside. We kind of figured we need to kind of just rebuild it. It's on a crawl space there and it's on the inside, it's got some different kind of drywall and finishes going on.
So you're just gonna punch the entire thing out and rebuild it? And there won't be a window when you're done?
Well, there'll be the window facing the north. There'll still be a window on the side facing the north, but not facing the west.
So board, this is the extent of item HPC 013. There is nothing else in the application that hasn't been withdrawn. So what we're discussing, those windows and openings, I believe, is the only thing we're to vote on.
Yeah, and we would appreciate a little discussion if you could give us some indication about the previous edition that we were gonna we're planning on doing, just if there's any reaction to that, whether that might be something that we could do in the future.
So the basic sunroom that they contemplated putting off the
South side.
yeah, the south side there by the garage, they're wanting just sort of an advisory opinion on it, nothing binding on the board at this point,
Excuse me, on what?
On the original sun.
on the sunroom edition. So Chuck, what do you think?
Excuse me, are they gonna still tear down the sheds?
That's a public hearing item.
Okay.
We can't do that right now.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I'm just processing. Just a little bit more processing time. Elevating the sills of the window. I mean, it changes the fenestration, but it's necessary if you're gonna make an operable kitchen.
I mean, there's other ways to fill in the back door window. But
And in the picture I have here, that room on the back was there in that picture. That's early, either late 18 or early 1900s.
Right.
Is that picture up?
You can see the thing going down. I think the only thing that was added is that wood part. The brick part was all part of the house.
Well, originally, the house was just the dining room portion. So the original part of the house was just the dining room portion. Because you got the brick, there's a brick wall between the south dining room and the entry hall. So that we think was the original exterior wall. So we think it started out, and because you can look and see in the basement, the original basement was the square basement. And then they added on the stair hall and the north parlor. And then they would add it on.
Well, that back had to be there, Adam, at least in the late 1800s.
Right,
The ladies in the picture moved out in about 1913. So
okay. Yeah, so just the progression of the development of the house, so, right, the most likely the frame addition at the back of the hall is the last thing.
yeah. Right there. That's the back. That's
Back to look at the porch.
the porch is exactly like it is today almost. Okay. Well, I don't have the picture he had, but I think it's in your pamphlet where it shows you the porch.
It's in here somewhere.
Yeah. If you look at it, the columns are almost identical to the picture here.
Oh, no, yeah, I was at the house today. There's no question that,
Yeah.
other than the weird, like, I don't know what you would call it, filigree or whatever, that somebody went up there and made it slightly more decorative. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's not original to the picture.
Yeah, I think Laverne did that probably.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So I don't know, the existing windows are just 1/1 now.
Well, the existing windows were, put in. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they just
They
put, they
show
just put, they put, no, they just put up
Chuck.
frames.
There's the original.
Okay, I just noticed that all the new ones are 6/6. I like that.
Does Terry want to talk to that? Because we've got the original windows we found it in the shed because the previous person took out the windows. And if you look at it, they were originally 6/6.
Yeah, it seems like, that's why I was asking why they are 1/1 now, because that's not.
So by the cover of darkness, Chuck, I believe Ryan Timmerman put in totally non-approved windows. I mean, it's completely a non-permitted,
Well, it's
dreadful.
Yeah, and he put them in, the frames in the frame, so we're gonna be able to take the whole window and
Oh,
frame out,
nice.
and then go
Okay.
back to a sash back, so that you'll
I don't,
gain a couple
Okay.
inches.
I don't think your windows in the shed are the originals.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they are.
No, I have a
They-
picture here showing them different.
They look
Yeah,
like
the
it to
muttons
me.
are all cut off. Once in the shed, they cut the muttons off. They were 6/6 and they cut them out, put one piece of glass in.
Okay, but in this picture, in the 1890s, they're all glass.
Yeah, but those are the original sash without the muttons.
Oh, man.
So they created 1/1 by removing all the mud.
To be fashionable.
God,
That
that's
seems like
good,
the
right?
hard way of going about
I
it.
just the architecture itself doesn't, I mean, the 1/1s just aren't appropriate.
Right.
It's not. So I was curious as to why they're pictured as 1/1 in the existing, and when I went by the house, it just didn't strike me as appropriate or right.
Jack, do you have any thoughts about changing the size of the windows?
Do I what?
Do you have any opinion about changing the size of the windows?
Not especially when it's on the back, and when it's, to, have an effect on what's being done inside. And as I understand, that's where the kitchen
Right.
ledge is, so it doesn't really concern me that much, no. Some things you have to do.
Judy, what do you think about the sunroom?
I don't have an opinion right now.
So let me ask you the two questions we ask about every addition. Is it distinguishable from the historic house?
Yeah.
Easily.
Mhm.
Does it detract?
Probably not. I don't know.
So let me ask Matt, who had a vested interest. Matt, we gave the courthouse a very hard time about the quantity of glass they put on their addition. This sunroom is nothing but glass. How do you feel about it?
Mm,
It's a lot of glass.
But it's a sunroom,
Yeah,
which is a fairly standard American.
yeah, I mean, it's supposed to have
Addition.
glass. I'm okay with it.
What do you think, Craig?
I'm against it, only because we're gonna lose the porch. I don't dislike the sunroom, but I don't wanna lose that porch. That's one of his, this is original part of the old house.
Sort of, but part of it is, I mean, you could see that the floor is completely re-poured. You could see that somebody's put some decorative stuff probably burned.
But it still was there,
I agree with that.
and it should remain in that time period. That's my feeling on it.
Does anybody have a,
Huh?
I'm just thinking out loud.
does anybody have a strong opposition to the change in the back, including the windows and the disappearance of a window?
No. I don't.
Why don't we take a motion on that and get that item behind us so that we can get on with the public hearing?
I move that we allow them to shorten the windows in the back. Right? And to, what other change were they gonna do?
Rebuild the current,
Remove the one door.
Remove the one door, okay,
Or, I'm sorry.
it's a window,
in the window, okay,
and rebuild the wood siding
Yeah.
right there.
that's fine.
So I now have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion needed on that particular item? Hearing none, call the roll, please, Jonathan.
Alba,
Yes,
Horton,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Dennerline,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Brown.
Yes. Okay, moving on to public hearing. So the public hearing has to do with demolishing both sheds. Are they both still on the table?
No.
Which one are we having a public hearing about?
The garage.
So the one that has the clear driveway leading up from West Street.
Right, but the one shown in historic photos, is gonna be left alone. In fact, they've already put some work into it to address the road.
Okay, I need a motion to open a public hearing. Is
I so move we open the public hearing.
there a second?
Second.
By voice vote, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? The public meeting is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak at the public hearing, please stand, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. And that would be Adam Johnson for the record. Mr. Johnson, first of all, you could say whatever whatever what you want to say about wiping out, knocking down that garage.
Well, I think, in this case, the garage, I would say would be as, well, it's, again, it's a shed. It's not large enough really for a garage. So in a modern use for this house, it'd be nice to have a place for a garage, a future garage size for modern use. So, I would say that removing this shed, which is, uh, similar proportion to a garage, we could probably provide a new garage in appropriate, proportions that would, provide a modern garage and a modern use for the garage. And so this garage, uh, uh, I think is not of substantial, unique, construction or form that it can't somehow be rebuilt or, reformed, into a new structure, something larger. Where
You're
the,
saying it can't?
it can.
It can be.
It can be.
Okay.
It's a straight, square building with a gable. The interior of the garage, the construction is a typical 2x4 construction. The roof is 2x4, rafters at, 24 or 32 inches. There's, the siding is wood, but it's not the original siding. I think there's, portions that you can see on the interior of the wall where there's, a modern, sheeting. So, I think it's undergone a lot of repair and not necessarily kept a lot of historic.
What's the age of the garage?
It's hard to say. It's original it's the old 2x4, construction. So it's probably sometime late 1900s, I would say early,
Craig, do you have any,
Or the
20th century, somewhere between 1890, probably 1920 or something.
do you have any information on it?
No, it's not in the picture. I
And-
couldn't find it.
It doesn't, the 2x4 structure isn't milled lumber.
Because the siding is inconsequential, it can be
Rough
redone.
solid.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct, and it's on a single plate, and there are places where the plate isn't there.
Just a grade beam.
Yeah, yeah, so it's kind of just, I'm not sure about the concrete, the concrete's all broke up.
But it's definitely horse and buggy proportions.
Yeah.
So the era is definitely pre-Model T
Yeah, and I think it was a shed.
or early Model T.
What was that, 07?
That's when it hit. It
Yeah.
didn't, they didn't sell like hotcakes till really after World War I, but
Right.
yeah.
What I'm looking for. But yeah, 07 would be when they started the T, so, okay.
So, my argument would be it's an old structure, but it's not of such unique nature that losing it is really a substantial, loss for the property.
That's a standard to go by. There's obviously a bunch of things we look at for demolition. Most of which don't pass muster with this particular request. What can you do to preserve the building and make it useful?
Ready? How I get up to tell
You need to fully rebuild it.
Yeah, code compliance, it doesn't even meet modern code for anything.
Needs a new foundation.
That's true of an awful lot of stuff in this town, Chuck.
Well, I mean, 2x4
We can't go by that.
No, but I mean, if you were going to use it for anything, I mean, applying this, just the safety side, life safety side of code, 2x4, the 2-foot centers, probably.
Yeah, then the roof, I mean,
Yeah.
again, and they're just about it, there's.
So it would be a restructure of the entire building to save it, keep it, and
Yeah, and where, almost where the shed being older has the gray beam and the 6x6, were something that you could actually maybe lift up here. You'd have to,
it's a great beam in good shape. Hope it was a screwdriver or anything.
No.
Okay.
What do you got to say, Craig?
Well, we have a sort of a policy here of 1930 and back. And I hate to lose any building that was built maybe in the late 18, early 1900s. I mean, we let buildings go, but they've been in a lot worse shape than this building is.
I think everybody on this board agrees with you, or they wouldn't have been invited to be on this board. But the question is, what can we do to help facilitate the outcome they want, perhaps without losing the building? One of the things I'm thinking about, for example, would be to move that building back and put a modern garage in front of it, and then we wouldn't have allowed the
Lose
demolition.
the building, you would just relocate it.
You just relocate it 20, 30 feet back and build yourself a garage that isn't, doesn't detract from the structure too much. And that's an easier thing to do than dumping it into
It's certainly a viable
a dumpster.
solution.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I just don't want to lose the structure.
I don't either. I think it's in very good shape, frankly.
What's it being used for now if it won't fit a car?
It's storage, just like the one behind the house.
If you look in the old picture, and it's gone today, but there was another building back further on that property, and you have a lot more property, so it could be anywhere on that property.
Right.
And I have no objection to preserving the building. So a solution of moving back, if that meets the preservation goal and also allows for a operational garage, I think that makes sense.
Well, I think it's the most viable solution to meet both needs. We need to save it.
I agree with that. I think what we do is we table this request and ask them to come back with where they're gonna move it and what the new garage is gonna look like.
Yeah.
And we actually can't table it because it would come back as a non-public hearing. Right?
If the request is to come back and not demo it, it doesn't need to be a public.
Right,
Right.
so there's no demo involved.
If there's no demo
Going
involved
with
with
this, so there's no need.
I don't know, just to put my 2 cents in, I don't know what the square footage exactly, the footprint of the houses or the footprint of the two sheds combined. But
For so,
I know, yeah, and
yeah,
I know it's not really none of your concern either, but you start getting into some zoning issues when you start accumulating accessory structures on a property as well.
right, they exceed.
Terry says, since the public notice went out, the neighbor showed interest in moving it across
Yeah.
the street.
That's
Oh,
true
sweet.
too. Yeah, the guy down on the corner of, I'm sorry, yeah, corner of West and Hill. Made a comment. He did call and want to know if he could move it on his property.
Yeah, so he's got dibs on it, Craig.
I was gonna say, I'd take it in a second. I think the thing's gorgeous.
It'd be ideal to keep it on the property to be historically accurate, but I mean, if salvaging it means moving it across the street, that's
Well,
awesome.
she's got a football field behind the house. I mean,
Yeah. A football field gets pretty small when you start adding accessory footprints.
No, I mean, she owns 2 lots.
Size of the lots. Relevant.
The lot is huge. It goes all the way up to the other house.
Accessory structures that you're allowed to have based on the size of your principal structure.
that seems weird to me because it should be proportional to your lot size. I mean,
Then if you're saying that, then you could end up with a detached garage bigger than your house, which you wouldn't want either. With that logic.
well, you could, but
Yeah.
that also might struggle here.
Sure,
But
I mean,
with zoning aside,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so yeah,
the solution
So
is,
zoning's not
is-
your
I mean,
problem.
the owner's obviously fine with relocating it on the property. And following our, suggestion to relocate it on the property and build the new structure.
It seems to me from a public hearing point of view, like the application should be denied. Get rid of it as a public hearing matter, bring it
Right.
back at the next meeting as a new garage and a relocated shed.
No
And we'll
public
take it
hearing.
as a normal
Right.
agenda item. And
Because it's only demo requires a public, right? If we're
Right.
just relocating it, that kind of puts the public comment out of, that's,
we're just 2 votes. We would need
Yeah.
the rest of you to think that's a smart idea too. So somebody needs a motion.
I make a motion, we deny the request for demolition of the garage.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Second from Jack. Any further discussion? Hearing
No,
none.
I just want to say I'm greatly appreciative of taking that into consideration and
No.
keeping the building. That's kind.
Well, part of the reason of coming here is to get, I deeply appreciate the Historic Preservation Committee's input and completely respect it. So I am very dedicated to preserving Galena historic buildings, which, as you can see from the work that we want to do from this building, is to replicate the photo. So. thank
Yeah, I mean, she is restoring a bunch of stuff that isn't currently there.
Right.
Like the
exactly.
windows, the chimneys. I mean, she completely rebuilt that, what was that, the north side wall.
And the
So-
and the foundation was falling in, so we actually did quite a bit of work just to even preserve the building from falling in.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't quite as bad as the Delahan house, but it was that kind of a buckling.
Yeah.
Anyway, any further comment before we vote? Jonathan, fire up, please.
So the motion is to deny the public hearing?
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes,
Harold,
Yes.
Dennerline,
Yes,
Morton,
Yes.
Alba,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. And now a motion to terminate the public hearing.
I shall move we terminate the public hearing.
Second, we have a second by voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? The public hearing has terminated.
I have a question for you, sir.
Yes.
Are we, just allow them to fix the windows like they're in this drawing, or we never discussed them changing the windows from the present?
I also didn't put it in the agenda because I was.
That, you know what? That shortens the discussion.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
I heard him, yeah.
That's the end of
I
that.
don't care, I just wanted to, I want to make sure we touched on everything.
We just did. Thank you.
Okay.
We are now having what I would call an advisory discussion regarding a Galena River boat tour operation. I'm assuming this is your agenda item. Thank you for being patient through the first one. Name and address, please.
My name is Jared Oska, 28 Oak Glen Drive. I want to thank Jonathan for guiding me to the meeting and pushing some of my ideas to the board. I've been in preliminary conversations with Mark Moran about essentially preparation for the bicentennial 2026, reactivating the Galena River. I pitched to City Council on the 22nd this idea, and the perspective that I was using for them was the terrestrial capacity of Main Street has reached a ceiling, especially during the high season within the city and town of Galena. I've heard people make comments, friends, when I take them around, it's very hard to get around. And the expansion of opportunities and activities in the city would lend itself to the river, to be quite honest. Two people that I've had very effective conversations with are Beth Feransky and Charlie Marsden. Beth was the coordinator of the Galena River Watershed Plan from 2018. I read through that and I noticed that there were a lot of line items in there that were focused on ecological improvements in the watershed, whether that's limiting the amount of fecal coliform that flows and erodes into the river, or stream banks that are not secure, that are leading to sedimentation in the river. Learning a little geology about it as well. The driftless region is not known for its topsoil. So essentially this historic Galena leisure boat tour, there exists a city ordinance. It was a draft that was made in 2004. It seems that someone else had a similar idea. But from what I learned from Mark Moran, that person never came back around to utilize the draft. And as I read it, this is literally made for the idea that I had. And yeah, so it was, it's formulating, and what I included in terms of visuals are what involves the board. And I'm going to actually read you some of the points in the 2004 ordinance that I'm speaking to. And it would be vessel requirements. So number one listed on that draft ordinance would be the Historic Advisory Board must approve the design and colors of the excursion and charter business vessels. Vessels shall be regulated as to size, height, capacity, color, signage, and any other attribute that might compromise the character and historic integrity of the Galena waterfront. So I understand that. And then I think the second one that directly applies to this committee, all excursion boats and charter boats shall be painted only those colors approved as, quote, historic colors. Paint shall be semi-gloss or flat finish. Monochromatic schemes shall require approval of city council. That's just a further step. But the photos that I included for visuals, this is a very light, it's about 1,700 pounds, electric fantail boat. And this is actually produced out of Montreal. They actually sell them in the United States as well. And it was the closest thing I could find that matched the fantail boats that you would have seen in the Edwardian era on the Galena River. We see historical photographs of leisure boats with canvas canopies hanging on top of them, 6 to 8 people having lots of fun in them. And I asked myself, what is efficient? What is eco-friendly? And stylistically, what makes the most sense in order to craft this proposal to be approved by City Council? So I just wanted to first and foremost introduce myself. I hate doing things and not let people in on it. And secondly, I wanted to get your feedback as to your thoughts on the boat model. I will say the price point is quite nice. Other boats are twice as heavy and twice as expensive. So I've done my shopping, and I really do think that this is quite a nice niche and historically accurate, or as close to historically accurate and modern as possible.
How,
It doesn't include the women.
sadly, I guessed as much. How much is the size of this interior versus the size of this interior? Which one is the accurate depiction of the boat you're buying?
So the top one is the virtual. The top one is actually the 3-dimensional customization software that they have on their website for Vision Marine. That it's 20 feet long, and the capacity of that passenger cab is maximum of 10 passengers.
So this is the accurate depiction of
Correct.
the size.
I will not get it in that interior color, obviously.
We are so happy to get.
Unless,
Yeah, nor are you gonna use that exterior color.
probably not. I just wanted to show you the
This is
diversity.
really a handsome boat.
I agree with you
I
totally.
don't, I'm not crazy about the canopy color, but the boat itself, that's a good looking boat.
I agree with that. And I actually, if you made the interior the size of the lower picture,
That's sweet.
yeah, I think we're there. That's my point of view.
What is the purpose of the boats? To go from point A to point B, or just a jolly excursion, or?
So it would be a historical component to it. Another thing I brought up to city council was that we do focus a lot on Civil War history, and we focus a lot on kind of terrestrial history. But my partner Nader and I, we like to kayak the river, and could have fooled me that that river was activated at some point in time, because if
I
you
know,
take
it's
a
not
boat down
faded.
there, it's as if nothing was ever there. And I really do want to shed light on kind of the first half of the 1800s here in Galena, because I think it's a point in time that we don't really, at least in the round, focus on. We have the Civil War reenactments and all those things, but I think the boating history and the steamship history and all those things, to actually have people get on a boat and see what this inland seaport would have functioned like, is extremely important in order to kind of expand the exposure of Galena.
So it's experience and sightseeing.
And sightseeing, it would not be a booze cruise. I feel like there's enough of those options all over the town. Maybe there would be some type of food component to it, if I could get a sponsorship from some of the restaurants in town to have a sundowner like that, or a breakfast boat, or I don't know, these things are all amorphic right now. But yeah, predominantly historically themed and informative narration.
So where do you plan on docking it?
So this is another thing. My discussion with Charlie Marsden and the Galena Boat Club seems that there is a very long waiting list to get a dock there. You either need to wait for someone to vacate a space or pass away or sell it or something like that. So that's why 2026, I'm going to do this in a year and a half, but 2026 gives me more time to secure a dock like that. If need be, building an extension off of the Galena Boat Club docks is another option, and I'm looking for grant funding that would help facilitate that. I'm in conversation with the Galena Foundation to see if that would be a possibility in the next year and a half or so. Otherwise, if you have any options,
So your tour would start down there
I would park it and store it there.
and
for
then
the
come up
season.
here, and where would you dock here?
So the kayak launch, I believe the length of it right now would be able to accommodate entry and exit on a 20-foot long boat. But that's another question I had for Mark in terms of extending that 10 more feet or something like that.
Be cognizant of parking.
Yeah, exactly. I know that the kayak launch itself has 2 exits on either side. I was looking to see it when I visited, but it's taken out of the water, so I didn't get to take a photo. But I'll be back this summer to kind of do some more research and development in that regard.
And what's your ultimate number of units?
1 boat.
Just one boat?
Correct.
Okay.
And then which way, you just stop it right at the bridge?
Probably the railroad bridge right before the mouth of the Mississippi, and then use that as a natural turning back point.
You know what the draft is on this? Maybe low?
20 inches.
Oh, wow.
But you won't be going upriver.
No, only, no, not where it gets thinner up in the agricultural areas.
No. Like up behind. Oh,
Westwood Foundry and stuff.
where,
Mhm.
because right where, you don't know where Hewitt's branch is, I'm sure, but there's a creek that comes up, that down on Meeker Street. That creek, right there, the water in the summer is only this deep.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually, we went out on our kayaks when I say we came from Denver last summer and the grass became progressively browner as we got to Galena. I was like, is this the apocalypse? What's going on? And people kept saying very low water, very low water. So we took it upon ourselves to literally take our kayak paddles every
Right,
mile and see the depth.
right at that point, there's rocks, big rocks,
Mhm.
and you'll scrape, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to know.
It'd be out to the Mississippi and back to the boat dock, the public dock.
You are gonna tell people that in 1826, there wasn't any such thing as a motorboat, right?
Correct. Yeah, I'm gonna make them pull it. So that's another.
That's a good thing. Get a donkey out there to pull that.
Right,
thing.
yeah. We're stuck with.
What color are you planning on painting it? That's my question.
Well, from the historical archival photographs, white is obviously probably the most seen color in a lot of the photographs. The finish on the surface of the boat is permateak, which is an artificial teak wood finish, which I think would go very well with it. There are dark navy blue options. There's an off-white. You like it? I do.
I do too.
I think as the colors
Which one?
are, I mean, they're appropriate.
I'm with
Here-
Chuck.
here was
I
a picture
like
right
that
there.
boat.
I'd love to see this.
I was thinking algae and thinking ahead, like, oh, it's already green.
Yeah. It's already green.
Yeah, here's a picture, similar colors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, these canopies were cloth,
Yeah.
which is kind of really cool. These are hard, but I don't think you'd have any problem at all from this board, that color scheme.
No.
Do we have
No.
a jurisdiction over? It's on the water?
Well, the moment they pass that ordinance, he needs to enable this business, we do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that ordinance is actually establishing our right to review what he does. So as of right now, we don't. He would need the ordinance passed.
Well, I think if he comes back with Jonathan and gets the color approved, that's,
I mean,
Jonathan,
When Jared and I spoke, I think the discussion I had with him was, we talked about this green boat was I don't even know why we need to go to this board because that's about as appropriate. When
Green's
you
fine.
look at a
If you look
picture
at-
on Craig's computer and this vote, like,
Yeah, it's
I don't
fine.
know that you could buy anything today that looks any more like
Yeah.
what they had back then without. it.
Yeah.
Except for the canopy.
It's perfect.
Yeah, right.
It's hunter green
Yeah.
with the wood deck.
Do they do a cloth canopy?
They'll do that canopy, they'll do it in like an off-white, which is the one that you see, a more pure white.
This is an actual photo.
That is an actual photo.
That has.
So there is an enclosure, right? So there's more, that is the more fortified of the canopies. And there is actual like clear protective coverings
Oh.
that you can add to it in case you're caught in the middle of a rainstorm. In a microburst when we were kayaking, super fun.
See that?
But yeah, if push came to shove and the skies were looking pretty rough, we'd be able to roll them down and kind of keep guys safe.
What's the over and under on how long it'll take them to capitulate on the booze part?
I gave up drinking it.
I mean,
in the
it's
last
not
year.
about you. We're in Davies County is what I'm getting at.
True.
If you don't have bush light on the boat, that's a problem.
I'll consider it. It's just a matter of permitting, and further licensing and all of that. And as it stands right now, the 2004 ordinance, there's a lot of captain's licensing and yearly permitting that I'm gonna have to do. So that's kind of further down the road.
We should probably take a motion.
Well, there's nothing, it's advisory.
Oh, just advisory,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, motion.
Well, then you can approve it, that green.
Well,
I like it.
yeah, I think everybody's in favor. Any help we can give you to get that ordinance through city council, let us know. And, we look forward to it. I think it's a great idea. And yeah, I'm hoping a lot of people come here with fresh ideas leading to our bicentennial, because I think that could be a really cool event if there's enough creativity.
Right. Next meeting is with Galena Country. It's all working and it's all happening. It's a one-man show, so.
Very
Thank you
good.
so much. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Entertain a motion to end this meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are now adjourned.
Yeah.
You guys had a soccer or?
Say again, sorry. Yeah, we are. Sorry, I'm done right now. We still have generations to it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, like,